What's going on, guys? Austin here, and in this video, we're going to be taking a look at the extra points lines of the week. So we're going to start off with our week 5 recap like we always do. Not a great week. We ended up having another 500 showing, which is not what I've been going for. I'm really trying to hit that 55 to 60% margin by the end of the season, but so far, I'm sitting at about 45, and I'm not liking that. Lions at Pats. I mean, Lions just absolutely failed on every level to put points on the board. We only needed them to score 16 points. Chargers at Browns, it's exactly how I thought that one was going to go. Same thing with Colts and Broncos. It went exactly the way I thought it was going to go. 49ers themselves put up 37 points, so they kind of screwed us against the Panthers. And then the Bears at the Vikings, that one was just a pure miss. Vikings played a little bit of bend, don't break, and Bears just put up a few too many points. Then on these spreads, we went 3-2 over here. The Cowboys at the Rams. This one was my favorite bet. I put the most money on that one. Giants, ended up, with like a 14-point swing. Instead of losing by about 8, they ended up winning by about 6 or something like that. The Falcons +9. The Falcons did what the Falcons do, and they just barely covered the game, with a chance to win it. The Eagles, I was rooting for that game to go to overtime so that the Eagles could score a touchdown and win it. But unfortunately, Arizona just put up enough points to stay in that game. And then the Lions, like we talked about, just absolutely failing against the greatest coach, the greatest defensive mind in sports history. But without further ado, we're going to be taking a look at the lines for this upcoming week. We've got the Bucks at the Steelers. I like the under here. Pittsburgh is 3-2 hitting the unders, while Tampa Bay is 4-1. And the teams combined are a minus 9.1 points under average in their games. That's a lot. I like that value right there. Two great defensive teams, two struggling offenses. Next, the Jaguars at the Colts, the under 41.5. Both teams are heavy on the under. Colts are 5-0, Jags are 2-3, but they're a combined right here. You see 18.2 points on that under. That's a heavy line right there. Combined 8.2 points together. That's almost too hard to pass, or it's almost too good to pass up. So I'm thinking about it. It might be a little bit of a trap, considering that the last game the Jaguars won was like 30-0. I'm not going to be too surprised if it goes over, but I think there is a good chance that the Colts win this game something like 19-17. And then I like the Cards at the Seahawks going over 51.5. Now Arizona's not too great against the spread. They're, minus 3.9 per game, but they've played a couple of really tough games so far. They've played against teams that run the football a lot. Now, Seattle, on the other hand, they are extremely high on the over as far as points per game. They're only 3-2 on the over, but when they hit the over, they hit it heavy. With an offense like the Cardinals, which I feel like it's just waiting to actually explode. I don't think the Cardinals have played a good offensive game yet. And there's no reason to believe that the Seahawks are slowing down. Over 51.5. I like the Cardinals to probably win this game. Don't be surprised if the Seahawks win, but I think whoever loses this game is going to score 25, 26 points. Then we've got the Cowboys at the Eagles, under 42.5. I think this one is going to be an incredibly low game, kind of like that Colts-Broncos game was. Now, that under 42.5, that's a low over-under, but both teams are heavy on the under. Dallas, they're 4-1 hitting the under with an average of minus 9.5, while Philly is 3-2 on the under with an average of minus 3.1. So overall, that is a 12-point swing in your favor, 12.6 points in your favor if you bet the under. And then I got the Patriots at the Browns. This one's more of a heart pick than it is a numbers pick. That 42.5 line, same thing right there. Now, New England is 2-3 on the over with a minus 3.6. So they are not the reason why I'm picking, but Cleveland is 4-1 on the over. They're plus 8.5, and they have somewhat of a susceptible defense that I think Bill Belichick, with a brand new quarterback, is going to be able to slightly exploit in certain areas. I think the Browns probably win this game, but I think it's going to be something like 31 to 22. I'd expect this one to go pretty high over. Then we're going to the spreads. Now, this one kind of making me nervous because I am taking a team that covered last week against a team that didn't. And if you follow the zigzag method, then you'd want to take a team that didn't cover against a team that did. But I think that +7 line is really good right there. If you can wait and get it at +7.5, I would absolutely take that. I might wait out a little bit, but there's also that off chance that money starts coming in on the Jets to cover and the line moves to Jets +6.5, and now you lose that touchdown line. But the Jets are +4.5 against the spread. They're 3-2 on the season, while Green Bay is 2-3 with a -4.8. So overall, right here, you're looking at about a 9-point swing in the Jets' favor. There's a good chance that maybe Green Bay just isn't as good as we thought they were. I think they're still that team, but until they prove it, we're gonna fade the Packers right here. Now the Colts -2.5 versus Jacksonville. This is again more of a heart pick than it is a head pick. It's not a numbers pick. Both teams are 2-3 against the spread, but the difference is Jacksonville is +8.6, while Indy is -6.3. Now Jacksonville, that line's going to be a little bit deceiving because they are so heavy over because of the Chargers game and the Colts game earlier this season that they have such inflated numbers. Those two games, just them on their own, I think they're probably like +30 points per game over on the spread. But Jacksonville has been playing awful football as of late, and the Colts have been playing really good football as of late. The Colts are coming off a long, extended rest because remember they played on Thursday night. I believe the only player that they could have potentially lost would be Kwity Paye, their second-year defensive end, and he really hasn't been that substantial as a player. There's a chance that Jonathan Taylor comes back and Shaquille Leonard, is working his way back into form. So I like the Colts to win by a field goal against Jacksonville. Now the Ravens -5 at the Giants. I think that this line should be -7.5, but there's a little bit of overreaction from the Giants beating the Packers. And we take a look at against the spread. The Giants are very good against the spread, but so far the Giants have only played one team that we actually believe in, which is Green Bay. And they thoroughly dominated that game as far as what you'd look for from a team that doesn't have all of its receivers, a team that is coming in with a much lesser quarterback. They came in and they beat the Packers. I think it was 27-22, 5-point victory. And the Ravens, they're coming off of a slow, barely winning against the divisional rival, the Cincinnati Bengals. So taking a look at this, I think it's baiting you to take the Giants. And for that reason, I'm not going to. I believe that the Ravens are one of the best teams in the NFL. They just haven't played like it yet. And so the numbers are going to be against them. I'm still taking them here against the Giants, -5. Now, the 49ers -5.5 against Atlanta. This is another one of those picks, kind of like the Ravens, where the numbers wouldn't necessarily say it because Atlanta's 5-0 against the spread with +4.5, while the 49ers are only 3-2 against the spread with a +4.6. So Atlanta actually is better than the 49ers are on these numbers. But what we're not taking into account is Jimmy Garoppolo has looked insanely more comfortable the last 2 weeks than he did his first week, and that Trey Lance has looked, when he first played. San Francisco's 3-2 against the spread. One of them is Trey Lance against Seattle, and then the other two are Jimmy G in his last 2 games against the Rams and against the Carolina Panthers most recently. So I think with Jimmy G finding his way back into the system, the offensive line has been playing really good as of late. I love the 49ers here to win by a touchdown against the Falcons. And then the Chargers -4.5 against Denver. They're 4-1 against the spread. Their only loss is that what was it, week 3 blowout against Jacksonville. And so that's why their average number is so far low, because they've only lost 1 game against the spread, but they're still suffering the repercussions on the average points per game. Don't look too much into that. Now Denver, on the other hand, they're 1-4 against the spread, but they're still a -4.2. Now that one win, I believe, is the win against the Texans, where they beat them by like 6 or 7, something like that. It was 9-16, I think. Um, and actually, no, that one wasn't even their win against the spread. Come to think of it, I don't even know which game was their win against the spread, but that's neither here nor there. Chargers, they're going to dominate this game. They only have one loss against the spread. They only have 2 losses on the season. That's to Kansas City and to Jacksonville when they were entirely banged up. The Chargers are coming in off of a narrow escape, against the Cleveland Browns, and so they're going to look to, kind of put the hammer down on a divisional opponent this week. All right, guys. Thanks for watching that video. Be sure to like and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and stay up to date on all of our future content.